Right now, Starbucks workers are officially on strike. Our union is asking everyone to not buy Starbucks anywhere until the strike is resolved for unfair labor practices. We'll be posting updates from the picket lines from across the country on our socials, so make sure to follow us and sign the No Contract, No Coffee pledge to commit to not crossing the picket line. Let's go!
What's up, everyone? Have we got an exciting one for you? But it's not as exciting as this woman's attempt to rile up everyone to fight the green, mean coffee-making machine Starbucks. And Mayor-elect Mamdani is already showing how allergic to capitalism and prosperity he is by supporting Starbucks' ironically clueless woke employees attempting to undermine the employer they rely on. And you won't believe what their demands are. But first, as always, if you enjoy this video and our content, please like, subscribe, share, and ring that notification button. Your support really helps this channel. Now let's get into it.
More than 1,000 Starbucks unionized baristas in over 40 U.S. cities launched an indefinite strike on Thursday, intensifying their push for a collective bargaining agreement over increasing pay and staffing levels. Ray Shao is a supervisor at this downtown Manhattan location.
What we're asking for is pretty simple and basic. We want enough hours to meet the benefits. We want enough staffing in our stores so we're not overworked, and we want to be paid enough to live in this city.
The walkout coincides with Red Cup Day, a busy sales event that typically drives higher customer visits. The union warned the strike could become the largest and longest in the history of Starbucks. So far, there has been minimal impact, with less than 1% of stores seeing any disruption. That's according to Starbucks, which told Reuters the union represents roughly 9,500 workers, or 4% of its cafe workforce. In April, the union voted to reject a Starbucks proposal that guaranteed annual raises of at least 2%, saying it did not offer changes to economic benefits such as health care or an immediate pay hike.
Meanwhile, our CEO is making $96 million, and for only 4 months of work. And meanwhile, our CEO is riding in a private jet, and I'm barely able to afford the MTA fare to go to work.
The union has filed more than 1,000 charges to the National Labor Relations Board for alleged unfair labor practices. Starbucks has said it pays an average wage of $19 an hour and offers employees who work at least 20 hours a week benefits, including health care, parental leave, and tuition for online classes at Arizona State University. The union has said starting wages are $15.25 per hour in about 33 states, and the average barista gets less than 20 hours per week. Both sides have blamed the other for stalling the talks and say they are ready to return to the bargaining table.
The issue with this Red Cup rebellion at Starbucks is a classic case of a radical union movement teaming up with the political class to bully a major American company. And it's driven by pure political theater, not economic necessity. Now here's the deal. The union, Starbucks Workers United, decided to launch an open-ended, quote-unquote, unfair labor practices strike, not coincidentally, on Red Cup Day, which is one of the company's busiest and most profitable days of the year. Their goal was to maximize disruption and revenue loss to force Starbucks into a contract that the company calls unreasonable. They claim they're fighting for better pay, but Starbucks already offers a benefits package including 100% tuition coverage that averages to around $30 an hour when all benefits are included. Clearly, the woman interviewed doesn't understand the concept of value. A CEO is going to get paid a lot more than a barista. They're running the company. This woman echoes the sentiment of her peers and brings the main issue of all this back to entitlement. If someone has more than me, then I'm oppressed, and the only way is to complain about it rather than go out, roll up my sleeves, and cut me a bigger piece of that pie. And so, what are these entitled employees' demands? Well, they want more guaranteed labor hours, higher take-home pay, and settling the so-called unfair labor practices. As mentioned before, Starbucks already pays an average of $30 an hour with full benefits. And yes, that would be nice to work more and have those hours guaranteed. But Starbucks, like any other company, has its ups and downs, and well, 2025 has been brewing up a series of ups and downs for this company. And with that comes cutting costs, which usually means less hours for starters. Sorry guys, but it's something called business. Starbucks barista positions are by and large part-time. Part-time jobs don't usually provide livable hours. This is with any company. If you want to get full-time, livable work hours at Starbucks, go out, get a skill, and then apply to their corporate office. The time you're spending protesting could be put to better use, in our opinion. Now, these unfair labor practices are just a big helping of nothing burger if you ask us. Allegations of unlawful firings, withholding of benefits from unionized stores, and so on are matters that can all be taken to the courts, and from the sound of it are. Starbucks can hire and terminate who they choose within reason, and there's been no scandal to date, except for what the union is claiming, which is that these unfair labor practices dispute are purposely targeting them because Starbucks quote-unquote hates unions. Now, this social shakedown was immediately cheered on by New York City Mayor-elect Zohran Mamdani, a vocal progressive who threw the full weight of his political platform behind the union's boycott, telling his followers, "No contract, no coffee." This is an alarming example of a political figure using the bully pulpit of high office to actively hurt a private business and its shareholders, proving that for the modern left, it's not enough to tax and regulate companies, they want to dictate how they run their business. We'll leave you with the following clip, which highlights the quote-unquote best and the brightest of these poor, oppressed Starbucks employees. Let us know your thoughts in the comments. And as always, thank you for watching.
It's not sustainable and is completely inhumane. We have been fighting for our very first contract for almost 4 years now. And last year, Starbucks said they were going to come to the table. They have not come to the table. So we are trying to get them to come in good faith and really show them what it's like on the floor. And they just don't want to listen. We have 3 final asks. So the first one is more take-home pay. The second one is more staffing and scheduling. And the last one is for them to pay for their ULPs. As a Starbucks worker, if I could set the precedent of getting better take-home pay, stable hours, better benefits, that's going to set the precedent for all different types of workers across the nation. It's making the 1% very afraid, and they should be.
Starbucks baristas are on strike today, and here's what you need to know. Starbucks Workers United is walking out in over 40 cities. This is slated to be one of the biggest strikes in Starbucks workers. They cited the 1.5 years of failed contract negotiations, severe understaffing, and a CEO to barista pay wage of over 6,000 to 1 as a few of the reasons for the strike. Starbucks Workers United is asking allies to join a Red Cup rebellion in a city near you and avoid shopping at Starbucks until the strike is over.
We have a lot of friends behind us who are unhappy, and we are willing to stand next to our baristas and make a change. We don't want to have to go on full strike, but we will if we have to.
We just want to say, Brian Nichols, we see how greedy you are, and we just think it's ridiculous. We're done with the union busting. You want us to have this back to Starbucks lovely experience for the customer. Where is the support for the baristas? Where is the respect that we deserve? You want us to be the face of Starbucks, but right now we are the face of your greed. Why don't you show us that you care about us? Where is our contract?